Dave Schrader kicks off our Cover 2 coverage tonight.
It's perhaps the most improbable tie in Green Bay Packers history. Season number 100 sees the Packers go to 1-0-1 after they could have clinched this game many times over. Many things went wrong. Only one needed to go right.
Disappointing, we found a lot of ways to give that one away.
Disappointed in the outcome. Had a number of opportunities to come away with the win, but the tie is, as I say, it is what it is.
Let's break it down. If any one of these plays goes the Packers' way, they win. The third quarter touchdown pass to Jimmy Graham would have put it away, but Lane Taylor was called for a questionable hold. Next, Devontae Adams almost snared a touchdown in the final 2 minutes, but didn't.
Some plays go our way, some plays didn't.
When it was attached to my body, I think 54 just kind of raked it and got it out at the last minute, but I thought it was still a touchdown, but apparently not.
Then the refs really got under the Packers' skin, taking Jair Alexander's game-clinching interception away, calling Clay Matthews for roughing the passer, giving the opponent new life for a second straight week.
I don't even know where to start, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I have so many emotions kind of running through. It's just what a terrible call it was. I don't know what else to do. I thought I hit him within, his waist, the chest. I got my head across, put my hands down, and to call it, at that point in the game is just, it's unbelievable. Last week, okay, shame on me, but this week, that's unbelievable.
Is there a way to coach that any differently than what he did?
I don't think so.
Still, Rodgers needed just 31 seconds to move into field goal range where Mason Crosby was iced and missed a 52-yarder to win it in regulation.
Obviously on that end, it seemed like the ball, all my other kicks moved to the right, so that one just unfortunately stayed out there.
In overtime, Rodgers faced second and short on the edge of field goal range, but fumbled his chance to make it a chippy field goal attempt, then was sacked out of field goal range altogether.
I thought I had a first down. If I pull that one, without fumbling it, I'm definitely getting a first down, and we're inside 50-yard field goal range. Disappointing because we had a lot of chances to win that game.
The loss only makes the Thanksgiving weekend matchup at Minnesota even more important. The Packers know that they need to get that one after letting this game slip away. For Cover 2, Dave Schrader.
Welcome back to Cover 2, everybody. Pleased to be joined here by right tackle Brian Bulaga of the Packers. And Brian, you've been around the game for a while now. You've had a couple of ties in your career. How is this emotional? How do you process that emotionally?
It's tough. It was such a crazy game up and down, and it's hard to process a tie. You're out there for 70 minutes, battling, and it ends in a draw. It's just an emotional roller coaster, and a lot of opportunities in the game, and we just we didn't capitalize when we needed to.
A lot of red zone field goals today. There were 3 for Mason Crosby. A 4th came from the 22-yard line. We heard a lot in the broadcast, and you hear other people talk about it, but I'm curious from a player's perspective if this actually happens. We know Aaron was limited today, wearing the bulky knee brace. He obviously wasn't going to be 100% if he played, and you hear people say, well, everyone else elevates their game because he's not on top of his health-wise. Does that actually happen?
Do people elevate their games? We have to. I think Aaron, what makes him so special is he is able to move around and make plays and get out of the pocket and run around, and when he's a little bit limited, we have to do our best to try to give him that pocket to sit in or just give him room to step up and move around and make the throws he needs.
All right, well, that takes us right to the telestrator, so let's get started. And here's a good example. This is early in the game here, and we're going to see, there you are, isolated right there. This is Stephen Waverly of the Vikings. But watch the way the pocket sets up. And I'm curious, Brian, was there discussion with you and Aaron or with the coaches? Listen, this is where he can move. He can't go this way that much. He can go this way. And how does that play into the way a play plays out? Because you have to react to what the defense is doing at the same time.
Yeah, there was really no discussion of which way he could or couldn't move. He's able to move both ways. That really wasn't a problem, but it was just a matter of when we did get into a situation, it was giving him this type of pocket and giving him room that he could step into it and throw.
He talked a lot about just being able to circle in the pocket. He talked about it after what he did in the Bears game. He talked about it again today. So is that what you're talking? He's got a little room to maneuver in this circle to get space.
Yeah, it's giving him that comfort of being able to step up into it, not have guys around him in his legs so that he can step through a throw and make a good throw and feel comfortable and just moving around.
All right, let's talk about legs real quick. 10 months after that knee went out, you were playing on opening night. Do you think about it still?
I don't. I don't.
Because look at, this is pure power to be able to plant that leg against that guy.
Mm-hmm.
When you see things like this, you go, I'm back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about it too much anymore. I mean, I really don't. It's just a matter of getting comfortable again and going through things and seeing different looks and getting comfortable with your feet in space, and those things take a little time. I mean, that's just not something just because my knee feels good.
Right.
I mean, those are game action speed type of things that every week I feel like I'm getting more comfortable with that.
All right, and something you guys may have to get comfortable with. You have 3 veteran tight ends. We haven't seen them on the field a whole lot today. Do you guys have a name for this package here?
I think it's just, I mean, you look at the personnel. I mean, it's 1 back, 3 tight ends, so just 13.
Okay.
And you kind of look at these guys. I mean, Mercedes is a great blocker. Lance is a great blocker.
Because Mercedes essentially a tackle with hands.
I mean, he's big. I mean, he's definitely a big old tight end. He does a great job of blocking. But I mean, it's definitely a good package to have. I mean, you kind of see what it does to the defense. It gets them a little bit confused on how they're going to line up on that, because obviously there's always a threat of the pass.
Sure.
And when you can get those guys against linebackers in space too, especially in passing situation, it's always a benefit.
All right, a good cutback by Jamal Williams, who has become a very effective blocker, Brian. We're going to see him here at blitz pickup. This was the key 3rd down play, 23-21, 4th quarter, 3rd and 8. And the way this is picked up, it just speaks volume of how good he is, but also the communication on the line, because the one guy that's coming free, you turn loose, is the guy that's the furthest from the quarterback. Is that how it's designed?
Yeah, I mean, in this protection, I mean, it's, we ID'd Anthony Barr. I mean, that was the guy that we were sliding to, and he buzzes out of there. And I mean, Aaron knows that if there's going to be
him right there.
Yeah, Aaron knows if there's going to be a free hat, it's going to be coming off the edge there, and then it becomes of making sure it's out on time, and he does that, and Gmo gets open, really quick, because those pressures that he dials up they hit fast.
Yeah.
So, great job there.
So how much confidence going forward? I know this is disappointing today that you didn't take advantage of opportunities, but you saw that this offense can move the ball, even though Aaron Rodgers can't move the way he normally moves. You didn't lose ground in the division, so that's the half full stuff. Can you build on this?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. It really is. I mean, tying a game, it's one of the weirdest things in NFL football.
Right.
I mean, you've seen 2 ties in 2 weeks here. But I think it is something we can build off. I mean, I thought the run game, we did a lot of good things in the run game, and also in protection, I thought we did a lot of good things against a really good defense with really good pass rushers to, get some momentum going and move the ball down the field. I mean, regardless of Aaron's status, I mean, we need to be able to make sure he has time in the pocket to make good throws and feel comfortable.
All right, and the next chance for that is coming up on Sunday in Washington. Brian, thank you very much. Was it great stuff today, Jason, from Aaron Rodgers? I mean, he played courageously. He played well, but he admitted he had a couple of clunkers there on the overtime possession. What do you think?
He did. He did admit that, and I thought that was great. Look, this was such a good story when they were going to win the game, right?
It was so close.
I mean, it was such a good story, and you could even sense from the players in the locker room, like they didn't really know how to. Everybody felt like they lost today, right? The Vikings felt like they lost. The Packers felt like they lost. If they don't end the way they do, Rob, we're spending this whole time talking about what a magnificent performance Rodgers turned in. But as Chris just said, 2 mistakes that he felt he made were involved in that.
I don't know that he made either one of those mistakes because of the injury. I don't think that had anything to do with it. They were about to show how they could win with him in his limited capacity. They were about to give everybody hope that the season, Mark, could continue for as long as, even while he was battling this thing, which he appears to be probably going to battle for a while. And now, all of a sudden, they have to go to Washington next week. And it's not a must-win. Obviously, nothing is in week 3. But it's much more important, than coming back 1-1-1 now.
Well, they got some things done. Williams ran it pretty well. Jimmy Graham's a part of the offense. The red zone just was driving me crazy today. They had all of these out. 1 for 5 in the red zone. That's not all on the quarterback. There was a lot of execution flaws.
That's where Jimmy Graham's supposed to be a difference maker.
That's a lot of execution flaws the rest of the offense.
3 red zone field goals. A 4th field goal came from the 22-yard line just outside of the red zone, so not good execution there. We were talking, Dave and I reminded us of Seattle, where they had to kick all those field goals in the red zone in that clunker back in 2014. Okay, Rob, where do we go with this penalty stuff? Because, last week, Clay Matthews, that was dumb.
Right, he admitted
it was completely dumb. This looked like a dumb call today.
So, as the pool reporter, I'm assigned to go talk to the referee, and Tony Correnti's explanation was he lifted him and drove him into the ground. If he lifted him, Chris, you and I are going to be on this show next week with full heads of hair, and I don't mean the spray-on variety that's been used around this town. Look, the referee, his position in that interview is to explain why he called what he called. He was clearly wrong. And you know what? People want to rip Clay Matthews. This is not Clay. Clay did exactly what you're supposed to do. And the most troubling part of it is that you talk to all those guys on the defensive side of that locker room, and now they don't know what they're supposed to do. And you can't play football that way.
I came across a very obscure poem from Dr. Seuss. Football Sissies by Dr. Seuss. You can't hit quarterbacks. This you cannot do. You can't hit them high. You can't hit them low. You can't touch them when they run. You can't touch them when they throw. For if you make a football play, like when Cousins went down with Clay, sissies just might take a Packer victory away.
Wow.
See?
How am I supposed to follow that?
What?
I don't know. But go ahead and try.
An unpublished work from
from an unknown author named Newman.
I thought the most telling thing about this penalty was that Mike Zimmer, who came up as a defensive coordinator, basically acknowledged what a terrible call it was and talked about how difficult it is for defensive players. I thought that was as compelling of evidence as you could ask for.
Enough said.
Not as good as a poem.
Yeah, well.
Well, shorter though. Mark, this was an early showdown between the two favorites, or the favorite and then 1A, if you will, in the NFC North. What do we take away from this after they finish with the tie? Who's the better team?
I said the Vikings going into the game, but the Packers outplayed them for 45 minutes. Yeah. You know, I thought they were the better team today, but I'd still say the Vikings have more 1 through 22 talent than the Packers do.
I don't think there's any question about that. I thought the Packers' plan was really masterful. I thought Mike McCarthy coached a really good game. I mean, hey, those timeouts that we always love, they worked like a charm at the end of the second quarter.
Different quarterback.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing, though. I agree with Mark. I think the Vikings are the better team. That's what makes it probably so difficult to let this slip away, is you're just not going to get a chance to beat more talented teams that often. When you do, you don't want to let it slip away.
I don't like ties. I think they're a sham. I do not like them, Sam.
That's good. On the fly. Should we go to what I heard?
Written it down. Yeah, it'd be great.
What do you got?
Well, I going back to our first point about Aaron Rodgers, I really like the fact that instead of making some sort of moral victory that he played pretty well with the injury and they got through it, that he basically pointed to a couple of plays. We're also forgetting, McCarthy took some grief for not running the football late. I think some fans were up in arms. If he's able to make that, if Devontae Adams catches that touchdown, it's 33-21 and it's good night. So I like the aggressiveness.
I spent most of my time waiting to talk to Tony Correnti.
I thought you were going to say Jimmy Graham.
No, outside the well,
he's still waiting.
We're still waiting for that. Who hasn't talked since July 28th, for those of you wondering. But I just, I heard and I kept rereading the explanation on the penalty, and I just don't get it.
And that's where I'm going to go with Mike Daniels, who said when he bumped Kirk Cousins, when he thought he released the football, only to realize that he had not. He was thinking, well, the offensive lineman's going to fall on me, and we're both going to fall on the quarterback, and I'm still going to get the penalty. I have no idea how to tackle a quarterback anymore.
It's a big
it's
problem.
It's the new catch rule.
It is.
That's exactly right.
Right. And they'll have meeting after meeting after meeting to try and rework it, and 2 years later they'll figure it out. Okay, here we go. Ad libs, gentlemen, quickly. This tie leaves me feeling blank.
Conflicted.
Tied.
My sister was in the stands, but I couldn't find her.
Oh, okay. There's another one. Cousins was blank.
Kissing Cousins.
Good. Mark, we'll just go right.
Dynamite drop.
Yeah, 425 and 4, pretty good.
All right. Patton's defense has been blank so far in 2 games.
A work in progress, like Aaron Rodgers says.
Just a little too much like Dom Capers.
I like the young corners. Keep playing them.